to the 4th episode of Lady Lazarus, my podcast. I'm your host, Charlotte Anderson, and today I am not only the host for this audience, but also the host for my dear friend, Jenny Armour. Jenny, say hi.
Hello.
So introduce yourself, tell us a bit about who you are, just like roughly.
Yeah.
We'll get into more details later.
All right, well, I'm Jenny, and I am a first-year violinist, and I'm from the U.S., and yeah, that's basically me.
Amazing. Well, yeah, so today Jenny and I are going to be talking all things music. I think the title of this podcast is probably something about like music students, but we're going to talk about being music students, Jenny's musical journey, since you've already heard a bit about mine, our thoughts on the music community in general, and then getting into some of our favorite musicians. Jenny has a lot, so hopefully this episode won't be 30 hours long. But before we dive into Jenny's past musical experiences, I just wanted to update you guys on some very exciting news here in Toronto. We've officially gotten the green light to be able to play with piano, which means that our March recitals are probably going to happen, which is a huge relief. If any of you are fellow musicians, you understand how stressful it is to not know if you're even going to get to perform all the things you've been working all year towards with like your full pianist and everything. So very exciting. But anyways, that's all I have for intro, and I don't think we should waste any more time. So let's dive into Jenny's musical journey. So Jenny, take it away.
What do you want to know about me?
Everything. No, just kidding. I already know everything about Jenny. Well, I guess just start out by kind of explaining your musical journey. How did you get to this point with violin, and maybe, you know, what some future hopes and dreams are with music for you?
Yeah. So I started playing when I was about 5. My dad was a percussionist, playing both jazz and classical music. So I grew up listening to both classical and jazz, and fell in love with Ella Fitzgerald, but then also like Carmen. I used to listen to that when I was very young. And yeah, when I was about 10, I knew that I really wanted to pursue some type of life in music, whatever that looked like. And when I went to Meadowmount for my first time, that really cemented it. When I was 12 or 13, I just loved seeing everybody else love music, and I'd never seen that before, especially for classical music. And I just started wanting to learn everything and anything kind of about classical music. So yeah, and then I moved to Cincinnati, and I studied with Kurt Salzman's house there, and those 4 years really helped me get into like Glenn Gould and stuff, and now I'm here, and I love it here. So.
And I love that she's here, because I love Jenny.
Yeah, that's kind of my path. I think for the future, I've found a big love of chamber music, especially I had a lot of opportunities in Cincinnati to play a lot of chamber music, so that would be wonderful if I could just, gallivant around the world playing with 3 other wonderful, instrumentalists or more, so yeah.
Yeah, man. Jenny and I have bonded a lot over our shared like longing to live in Europe and play music in Europe. So no, I'm very grateful that I met Jenny. Jenny is very inspirational to me, and you guys know most about my music journey already, so I won't get into it too much. But unlike Jenny, I didn't know that I was for sure gonna go into music until I was a bit older, but I always knew that I loved to sing and I loved to perform, and then some stars aligned and I managed to make it work and convince people in my life that I was worth supporting to go into music. And then I ended up at Glenn Gould as well, and I think we've really both enjoyed the experience so far. It's been really weird with COVID, not gonna lie, and I think it's been quite unpredictable to think about what our future careers or even just like the next year is gonna look like in terms of music. And it's definitely stressful, but I think we both are holding on to our dreams, especially our Europe dream.
Holding on to our dreams.
My dream of living in Italy with chickens. If you know, you know. But anyways, so that's like a brief overview of our journeys thus far. And next we're going to get into a bit of talk about music school, spill some tea about what's fun, what's not fun. So let's take a second because I'm thirsty, and then we'll go on to that. So I think we're going to start out with just some basics, like what we like, what we dislike about music school. So Jenny, you go first because I haven't thought about this enough. So what are your favorite parts of music school?
Boy, well, kind of aside from that question, in high school at least, I was kind of just like living through the year, getting ready for summer camps and just excited for summer camps. And so I always thought of, conservatory as kind of year-long music camp. and so I've really, we've missed a lot of that because of COVID, and I miss playing with people. But, gosh, what do I enjoy?
Nothing. Music school, no, just kidding.
No, I think it's just the pure focus of of learning about music, and everybody is here to learn music, which is just so boggling and cool and wonderful.
Yeah. I remember it was a few weeks ago. So basically Jenny came with me for Christmas, and then we came back to Toronto together, and then once a bunch of international stuff got sorted, she got to go home for a few weeks. But in the brief time that she was in Toronto and I was in Toronto when we were starting second semester together, I think we both had kind of an epiphany about our music history class and how much we love just listening to music and just
it got to romantic stuff.
Yeah, we love romantic. We'll get into this more later, but we're both obsessed with Chopin, especially when he's played by Hugh Grant. And it's just such a blessing to be able to sit in a class for 90 minutes and spend half of that time listening to beautiful music and the other half of that time talking about that music. But no, that's been something I really enjoyed. What would you say were the classes that you've enjoyed the most so far?
Definitely music history, I think. I honestly love oral skills, and although I can be totally freaked out at times, I feel like it's going to help me in the future, especially with improvisation and singing jazz. So,
yeah, for those of you who don't know, oral skills is basically a class where all we do is sight read and sing scales and chord progressions and things in front of our entire year. It's very scary, but our teacher's amazing. We both love Julia. If you're listening to this by a 1 in a million chance, we love you. But yeah, no, I have to agree with everything you said. As a singer, I also have to take a bunch of language courses and extra things that Jenny doesn't have the pleasure / stress of taking. And I've really been enjoying taking languages, especially Italian, because I want to live in Italy one day. And it's been really nice to finally feel like I'm in a community of people who are supportive. And I guess we'll get into this more later, but there's definitely a misconception that music school is always about being super competitive, and I'm sure that's true for a lot of places, but I feel like at Glen Gould it's definitely not. Everybody's quite supportive of the individual journey. But anyways, that covers that. And then flip side, what do we not like about music school? I can think off the top of my head, I don't like singing oral skills, even though it's very helpful, but it literally makes me want to throw up, and I get so scared, which is ironic because we're doing performance degrees, but it's fine.
Yeah, well, it's so hard because the pandemic. That's what I don't like about music school. Is
me
the
too.
Pandemic.
Relatable. Yep.
Because my favorite part is playing with people. So, yeah, to not have that is hard, but. Honestly, I wish I had more time to practice. I think that's maybe my least, or I don't know, a difficult part is just balancing everything and being able to practice enough.
Music school is intense, guys. We have very long days. And it's just it's good because we're learning a lot of really important things, but the level of work plus the fact that most of our time should be devoted to improving our instrument makes it so difficult. And then when everybody around you seems to think that you're just like singing in a practice room all day when you're not. It's just like so hard. Well, I guess in summary, we love music school. We hate Zoom. We're ready to be in person again. So Trudeau, jab me with that needle, please. Jenny's American, so she's probably gonna get vaccinated long before I do. Lucky girl.
Before you do, yeah.
And then I guess last thing, like, what do we wish we could change about music school? I guess we kind of touched on this, but yeah, I mean, for me, and I think you feel this way too, like adding more crossover or like just giving more room for like creativity. I mean, we still have a lot of room for creativity, and for me with my coach and my teacher and Jenny with her two teachers, like we have a lot of room in our private lessons, I think, to explore that, but I kind of wish that there was more time to go down that route, but it is so hard because, like, we just have so much content to cover. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I also think that if I had more time to just be creative by myself, I wonder if I actually would be. Yeah, I don't know. I think I wish, like, all the GGS people, like, lived together, like, in an actual conservatory.
I know.
Like,
oh my god.
Because it would just be, that's the part about summer camps of, like, just talking and living music every day, where it does feel like I am talking about it every day and living around it. I feel like it would be more like that. Yeah,
Jenny just wishes she lived with more strings players because she's sick of talking to a clueless voice student. No, I'm kidding. No, it's been nice though, like living with Jenny, and then last semester our two other friends, a violist and an oboe player. If you either of you guys are listening to this, hello. But it was really cool to be exposed to different music. Not that I don't listen to classical music. I definitely have started listening more, but being exposed to more instrumental music and like strings-oriented music or woodwinds-oriented music that I wouldn't have otherwise thought to listen to has been really cool. And I definitely feel like once COVID is over, that social aspect of like having the inspiration from other people and just walking into the conservatory and hearing people play in like practice rooms and stuff. Like I can't tell you, I've literally never walked into the conservatory and like had like the actual experience of like
music
school of like music school. Jenny was lucky because she got to do like she was literally doing university conservatory stuff in high school because this girl works hard and harder than anyone I know.
Very grateful.
Very lucky. And but no, I'm so excited for that and just like making music with people. Jenny and I have talked so many times about how badly I want her to play on my recital next year because it just would be so fun and like having an audience. Anyways, I'm kind of ranting, but I guess, do you have anything else to say about music school? Pros, cons, favorite profs? At least, no, I'm kidding. You don't need to
Paul Cantor.
Paul Cantor is a legend. If you're listening to this, Paul Cantor, you inspire. I love you. I seriously love you. No, yes. I've also found that our teachers are none of them seem like they don't care. All of them are so involved, especially our private teachers. Like, Jenny's prof, you tell this story. What happened today, Jenny, about like...
Oh, well, my teacher, again, showed up very late, but went over, and then I had like an hour and a half lesson. When I had a lesson just a couple days ago, I don't know. I just have lessons like every other day, it seems.
Which is amazing because we're only supposed to have one 90-minute lesson a week. No, our teachers are amazing. I love Adrian. Okay, so I think that sums it up about music school. Next, we're going to dive into some of our thoughts on the music community right after this. So yeah, we're going to dive into some of our thoughts on the music community. This is going to be half us talking about classical music and half Jenny giving a short lecture about third stream because she blew me away with her amazing knowledge about it, and I don't understand it very well. So anyways, I'm totally throwing her under the bus right now. That's fine. So I think the biggest thing, and a question that not only people in the music field have, but question that a lot of people who aren't invested in music also seem to be really curious about is classical music dying? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Is it relevant still? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Does anyone care about classical music? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And I feel like I don't know. I struggle with this because I love classical music. I'm surrounded by people who love classical music. But the reality is that there needs to be some sort of shift, something needs to be done in order to attract a younger audience. I hate saying it because I don't want to change anything about the actual music, but I think it's more like the social. Unfortunately, a lot of classical music is rooted in discrimination and Western traditions that aren't always uplifting of, for instance, women or BIPOC composers. Like, it's been very difficult for a very long time to get to a point where those people are recognized. And I think that a huge part of making classical music more relevant is expanding the horizons and bringing kind of a voice to everyone, I guess, instead of just limiting it to the traditional, like, what we've heard so far.
I think my first thought was, like, no way that it's not a dying art form at all. And I think I just thought of that, like, right off the top of my head, just because there's so much good music.
Amen.
And
Amen.
It's just, like, yeah, I mean, the phrase of, like, it's had its time or something there are many things that have had its time, but I really don't think anybody's gonna say, like, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring has had its time. Like,
No. Rite of Spring, live forever. Sorry.
Yeah, or, like, any Mahler symphonies, or, I mean, yeah, of course, there's just endless pieces. So I just don't think, and I think also, yes, we need to have more of a younger audience, but I don't think anyone, the world is gonna say, okay, classical music is done and over with. That's, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have an optimist like Jenny here. I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think it's all a matter of changing kind of the mindset and the way that people see classical music, because I think that, unfortunately, a lot of people grow up hearing basic. I don't want to say it's basic, Mozart, but, like, yeah, like there's love me some Mozart from time to time, but not gonna lie, sometimes the flavor is a little bland. If you grow up with the impression that all classical music sounds like Mozart's, like, piano sonatas, which are beautiful in their own way, then you're never gonna fully understand the beauty of, like, a Chopin prelude or, like, a Mahler symphony. Or
were you just saying the other day that you loved, like, some Mozart piano sonata? I don't know. I feel like
no, I honestly, like, I'm pretty sure,
no?
if anything, I would have said I don't enjoy Mozart very much.
Okay.
Well, I remember last semester, okay, here's the thing, like, I used to not really enjoy Bach because I didn't understand, like, the complexity of it, but then we listened to Prelude and Fugue in A minor on the organ, and my mind literally, like, exploded, and now I'm obsessed with Bach. Yeah, if people were exposed to more classical music that really digs into you and provokes an emotional response, I think they would appreciate classical music a lot more. And I found that on TikTok, of all places, there's been kind of an appreciation for classical music.
Really?
Like,
oh,
the
wow.
Swan, the Saint, like, that's,
Saint Saul,
yeah, it's gone, thank you. I, like, always can't pronounce his name. Saint Sains. It's literally, like, blowing up on there right now, and people will make, like, aesthetic TikToks with classical music and, like, Yo-Yo Ma Cello. Amazing. Love that man. But yeah, anyways, that was my long way of saying that you should go listen to... What should they listen to, Jenny? What's your, like, top recommendation for a person who's never listened to any good classical music before?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, yeah. I mean,
first thing that comes to mind.
Rite of Spring is the first thing. Just because it has, like, there's such a depth of emotions. And I would say, like, go listen to Mahler 5, but I feel like you need to be around somebody who is in love with Mahler 5 to appreciate all the nuances of it for the first time.
Yes. Amen to that.
I don't know.
No, I totally agree. So now I'm going to invite Jenny to give us a little talk about Third Stream. Just it doesn't have to be long, just like what you said to me earlier. Well, it's very interesting. I didn't know a lot about Third Stream. I still don't, but Jenny's been educating me, so I want her to share this knowledge with my small, cute community of listeners. Love you guys.
Well, basically, so I also sing jazz and...
Very well, might add. Love Jenny's jazz.
And yours. And I have just kind of fallen in love. Maybe not fallen in love, that's maybe too harsh. But I really enjoy just the mashup of both classical music and jazz and all the different forms that can take place and just finding cool music over the past, I don't know, year and a half or something. And so anyways, basically, Charlotte's been mentioning third string music, and that kind of encompasses a large part of the mashup of the two. Third stream music was actually coined in like 1950s something, late 1950s. And it was mostly about not playing a Bach chorale but swinging it, or not playing some bebop tune and playing it with a string quartet. It was mostly...
It's like taking the ideas that make up classical music and jazz music and putting them together. So it's like creating original fusion music versus recreating existing classical or jazz.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, no, that's great. And I actually didn't really know that was the definition until today. I use kind of third stream music as a overarching thing for, maybe a Bach chorale that was swung. Anyways, so I think third stream music in many senses is very cool. And I thought I would just shout out a couple like albums and tunes because I feel like more people should know about it. But so there's this quartet called Quartet Eben, and they have amazing recordings of Beethoven string quartets. Highly recommend listening to those. But I recently discovered they have like kind of a jazz standards in Latin, some Latin tunes and a bunch of other stuff. Album, it's called Fiction. Yeah, it's just really cool. There's also, Chick Corea. Chick Corea is a big...
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I miss Chick Corea.
Rest in peace.
Anyways, he did a lot of stuff for third stream music around that time, and I was so excited to find in one of his albums for Alice in Wonderland, actually. And not for Alice in Wonderland, but it's called Alice in Wonderland. Prelude to Falling Alice, that's the tune. It starts with this cello that goes da-do, da-do, or something like that. And I recognized it, and it's from Bartok String Quartet No. 1. And I was so excited that he, used that. Anyways, so there's many things that Chick Corea's done. Also in his album Plays that just came out probably a year ago, he improvises over, some Chopin preludes and some Scriabin and some Mozart. There's a vast selection of third stream stuff that I highly recommend checking out.
Amazing. And that just reminded me actually of something I wanted to bring up about my thoughts about classical music, is that there's this big misconception, and I think it might be more outside of the actual music community, but I think in the larger, the world as a whole, I think there's a misconception that there's little room in classical music for improvisation and the free feeling that you get in jazz or other modern music. And I've just been thinking about this, and I'm sure for a lot of musicians this is going to sound very basic and obvious, but people genuinely forget that Bach preludes and any preludes were all based on improvisation. So many things that are in the tradition of classical music actually came about due to creativity and improvisation. And I feel like so many people look at classical music, especially just because of the strict theory aspect that gets drilled into so many of us, people look at it as so much more mathematical than it is.
Yeah, no, we've lost the improvisatory.
Yeah, and I think people have forgotten. I'm gonna link this in the description of this podcast. I forget the name. I always forget the name of this guy, but it was a jazz musician who was giving lectures at the Royal Conservatory in the Netherlands, and he was talking about Chopin changes. I made Jenny watch this video, cool, and he's basically talking about how, classical musicians forget and don't pay attention to the actual fundamental changes in our music compared to jazz musicians. For those of you who aren't musicians, changes are just the chord changes, the chord progression in a tune and in a song or a piece. Barry Harris, thank you. And yeah, that really struck a chord with me, because when I was growing up playing classical piano, I never thought about, here we're moving to the relative minor, or here is this is this progression, or blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I can understand that a lot of people don't enjoy taking a theory route, a technical approach to music in that way, but it's honestly so important to be able to understand where a composer is coming from and how that's connected to different things. And you can only have positive gains from looking at music that way and understanding the function of the chords. And that's something I really appreciate in jazz that I've been trying to incorporate more in my classical playing. I don't know, Jenny, how do you feel about that stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we should bring back improvisatory cadenzas. That used to be
the thing.
Snaps
for Jenny.
But I mean, I don't even know how I'd go exactly about that, but I think that would be so cool to play around with sometime in my life.
We should do that sometime.
Yes.
But yeah, no, love classical music, but we need to like revive some fun things. Like, come on. Okay, so we're gonna take another quick break, and then we're gonna dive into our favorite musicians next. So stay tuned.
Right, so for all those Berlin Philharmonic fans out here, why was the former conductor of the Berlin Phil always first off the plane?
Why, Jenny?
Because he only had carry-on luggage!
Woo!
Alright, that's it.
Thank you. Since Jenny and I are both huge fans of literally every genre except aggressive rap,
And
I would
country.
say, at least for me. And
Are you a country?
I'm not a country fan,
Okay,
but like
good.
if it's on, I'm not like in somebody else's. If somebody else is playing it and I don't have a choice, I'm not gonna complain about it.
Yeah, I mean...
And there's like a small,
Stop that.
there's a small niche. Like I don't mind listening to some Casey Musgrave. She kind of like, she's nice. But I don't go out of my way to listen to it. Jenny's giving me like a really disapproving look right now. I prefer other genres, but like I can deal with like non-racist and non-sexist country music. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna start with really old like Baroque. We're gonna start with ancient music. I have some Aulos music.
Yeah,
I want to talk about. No, we're gonna start. Well, I mean, I just want to shout out again the like one Bach piece that I enjoy listening to on a regular basis. Yeah, we'll just
Cello
progress.
Suite.
Oh, actually, there's two then. We're just gonna progress forward in time, basically. So, I just wanted to say, as I said before, you should go listen to the Bach Prelude and Fugue in A minor. It literally changed my life. We listened to it in music history, and Jenny knows. Like, I genuinely listened to it every day after that. Like, I freaked out. And also, his cello suites. Yo-Yo Ma's recordings of the Bach cello suites is elite. That's really basic. Like
I was gonna say, name another cellist. No.
No, I could not. The cello suites were like my introduction into string music because I just didn't listen to a lot of it. I still wish I listened to more of it, but most of my classical taste is quite basic right now, unfortunately.
It's okay, we're working on it.
Yeah, we are.
I was gonna dive into classical.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Speed ahead.
Oh.
Hit that Mozart. Hit that Haydn. Okay.
Speaking of Haydn, I have a joke.
Go ahead.
Alright, why couldn't the string quartet find their composer?
I don't know, Jenny. Why?
He was Haydn.
He was Haydn, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm a big fan of Beethoven. My love of Beethoven mostly stemmed from a friend of mine who had such a great love, and still does, of Beethoven. That's actually one thing that I think is really important, just in the classical music as a dying art form. I think musicians that love classical music need to show their love for it more. Kind of going off on a tangent, but
go off.
It really helps. Not classical anymore, but Brahms and Mahler.
I was gonna talk about Brahms too.
Oh,
I love
good. Brahms too.
Oh well,
like
yeah. I mean, I love that, but I was gonna talk about vocal rep.
Oh, go
like,
for it.
Brahms's lieder is elite. I love it so much. I sang "O wüsste ich doch" for my voice audition. Well, I mean, it was on my rep list. Nobody asked me to sing it, which made me really sad because it's really beautiful. But I love his like dreamy quality and just anything romantic. Honestly, Jenny and I both are just like diehard romantic people. In terms of the genre of music, let me be specific. The terms of genre of music. Also, I've been playing some Chopin recently, just like for fun. I also started playing Mendelssohn today because it's on our history, our music history repertoire, like the music that we're listening to. But the Chopin Raindrop Prelude is ridiculous.
So
da da da.
Sing it, Char.
That's But no, I really enjoy that. And then Schubert as well. I know he's like more classical, but like any
Schubert.
Sorry, I just saw it on my playlist and I was like, shit, I can't forget to mention this. Any of the Renee Fleming recordings of Schubert lieder is amazing. Her recording of Du bist die Ruhe is life-changing. I literally weep to that song. It's amazing.
Oh, I don't know. I was just gonna go on to 20th century.
Yes, go ahead.
That's mainly where I
I think we both really like 20th century rap. Yeah. I've been singing a lot of 20th century rap this year.
There's so much good music. I can't just go through all of it. But big fan of Prokofiev. So much of Prokofiev. Like, yeah, from his symphonies to string quartet to, just. Yeah, he has a ton of really great stuff. Bartok has been a favorite of mine. I got in a really nice red leather book all of the scores to string quartets when I was like,
Yay!
I don't know, 15 or something, and that was my favorite Christmas present. They're just really cool. Ravel, of course.
Yes, oh my god. I'm singing the Cinq Mélodies Populaires Grecques cycle this year for my recital. I love that, man.
Yeah. Oh, so much good stuff. I've been falling in love with Walton. I mean, I love his violin concerto, which I'm working on right now, but his violin sonata and a lot of his orchestral works, it's just, yeah, I didn't realize he was so cool. Poulenc. Oh, falling in love with his violin sonata, and of course I love his cello sonata so much, and Stravinsky is definitely at the top. I just love Stravinsky so much.
Yay! I want
Petrushka, go listen to Petrushka, please.
Yeah, do it. Literally amazing. I also wanted to mention a couple albums that I really love. Susan Graham's recordings of Ned Rorem's art songs, which are all in English, which is like a bonus for any of you who aren't familiar with like other languages and don't like listening to foreign language singing. She just has such an amazing, like her tone is amazing, and the control she has over her voice is just like ridiculous. I can't even. And then the Over the Rim of the Moon cycle by Michael Head. There's not a lot of recordings of this because it's kind of like underground. But I'm singing it this year in my recital, and it like makes me cry, which is like fine, I guess. No, it's good. And then also songs from the Arc of Life, the album that Yo-Yo Ma did. It's so good. He does like art song, but on cello instead of sung,
actually, I know that.
and other things that aren't necessarily meant for cello, but on cello with piano. So who are your jazz faves?
My biggest Chick Corea.
Oh,
that's a first.
Yes, love him. We wrote lyrics to his tune Windows last semester, and it was so fun. Yeah, we need to record that ASAP. That'd be so fun. Yeah, I'd love that.
Chet Baker, love
Chet Baker sings.
Coltrane, Bill Evans, Dave Brubeck. I was just listening to Dave Brubeck's. Oh, this is really cool. I was listening to one of his. Actually, it's the first album on Spotify of Dave Brubeck's, and because I was watching a little short clip of some guy at Jazz at Lincoln Center talking about third string music, and he mentioned this album, and I was listening to Take 5. I clicked on that, and it sounded absolutely nothing like Take 5. It wasn't even in 5 for one. And
that's a little awkward.
And anyways, I just thought it was so cool because the tune Take 5 was, I guess they decided to make it take what we know is Take 5 a lot later, but I listened to the first Take 5 that wasn't even in 5, that didn't even sound like Take 5. Anyways, it's kind of interesting. McCoy Tyner, that's a big favorite of mine. There's just so much, but I'm gonna stop there for right this second.
That's amazing.
There's Charles Mingus. There's so many.
Yeah, I like basically
Miles
agree
Davis,
with everything. Oh yeah, everything Jenny just said I agree with, and she knows a lot more. She listens to a lot more jazz than I do. Also, just want to shout out my friend Ilhan Safarelli real quick. He is an amazing jazz musician. I'm gonna link his Instagram in the description of this. The description of this podcast is gonna be really long. Sorry guys, but no, he's been really inspirational to me. If you're listening to this, Ilhan, love you so much. Miss you. Hope to come visit you soon. He's very lovely to listen to, and I've enjoyed hearing his progression over the years. But yeah, before we get into like more modern stuff, I also just wanted to mention that I like kind of love like classic rock. I listen to a lot of Beach Boys and the Beatles, Little Zeppelin, like smattering of Zeppelin here and there. Not that. Also, I know it's not so classic rock, but Billy Joel. I love that he's having his moment right now on social media. Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys is like one of my all-time favorite tunes, which I know is like basic, but yes, Jenny, whistle girl, whistle. But anyways, let's move on to like, what are you said you had some jazz funky, more modern.
Jesus Molina, he's been amazing recently. Of course, Jaco Pastorius, amazing, like one of the world's greatest jazz basses. Snarky Puppy, Kamasi Washington. I fell in love with him like 5 years ago. I have to say it, but Jacob Collier, he honestly was one of my, I really got into him about 2 or 3 years ago. Roy Hargrove, that man is so cool. Sean Martin. I mean, there are so many people. Donnie McCaslin. So many. Anyways.
Oh, also I forgot to mention I love the Mamas and the Papas. I love like any sort of old, really rich harmony, vocal heavy, classic, folky rock. Really.
Oh, Pat Metheny. Sorry.
That's okay. It's
Pat
okay.
Metheny. I have to put it out there. And Eldridge Jengeroff and. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
That's okay. I feel like lately, in the past couple of years, I've also gotten really into kind of more alternative folky. I've always listened to more alternative and indie stuff, but in the past little while, I've totally fallen in love with the Lumineers so much.
She does talk about them a lot.
Their album 3 is so good. It's not even funny. And also Bon Iver. I know he's not a band, but like, I literally went through a month of listening to the album For Emma Forever Ago every single day for the entire month. I made Jenny listen to it. I made all my friends listen to it, and I was like, this changed my life. It's gonna change your life too. And I don't think it changed anybody's life except for mine, but that's okay. Also, I guess I'm moving more into like modern alternative music, but I've always been a diehard Lana Del Rey fan. Just, she's great. Don't necessarily agree with everything she does on a personal level, but on a musical level, love her stuff. The Neighborhood, Peter McPoland. Also, a little bit of Mumford & Sons. I really like their song Wild Heart. Also, I've gone through, this was more last year, but I went through a phase of really loving to listen to movie soundtracks. The soundtrack for Her, the movie, is insane. I don't think it's available on Apple Music or Spotify, but you can find it on YouTube, and it's so good. Also, the Great Gatsby soundtrack. Have you've seen the Great Gatsby?
I haven't actually, no.
Okay, well, the soundtrack is like so good. It's like just really lush string, and then combined with like jazz and like because it's set in the 20s and everything. Like, it's actually, honestly, you'd really like it. Okay. Whenever I want to listen to non-vocal music, usually I end up listening to film music almost as equally as I would to like regular classical instrumental music. I can't listen to music when I'm trying to get work done because I get too excited about the music, so I can't like focus on the work. Yeah. Like, even to study, like, I just can't. I can only have something going in the background like Netflix when I'm doing theory homework or something like that's but mathematical or like very predictable, not like essay writing or doing anything that takes brain creativity, but if it's something straightforward where I'm just applying like a formula or applying a concept to something, I can totally have like Netflix on in the background. Love me some Grey's Anatomy. Almost done everything that's on Netflix. But if it's anything creative, like I can't even have like ambient music, like chill, quiet music. It has to be silent, just because I love music so much and I just get too excited about it. Like, I can't imagine somebody who could like listen to Mahler 5 and write an essay without like stopping to enjoy the beauty of the music. Well,
you can, it's just you miss everything.
Exactly. No, it's just so hard. Do you have any other groups that you want to mention?
Well, other than like jazz and classical,
like modern.
Wolfpack. Shout out to Wolfpack. Everybody knows Wolfpack. I mean, I love Lizzie McAlpine. She has been one of my favorites. She's a singer-songwriter that went to Berklee. She dropped out because she has a career basically now. Yeah,
she's very successful. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, Loewe.
I was going to mention her
We
too,
learned how to pronounce her name finally.
Good
she
job,
liked one of my comments on her TikTok the other day. I'm like famous now. She's amazing.
Also, Morrow, another singer-songwriter. I know most of these people because of Jacob Collier, like influences and that he's played with. Becca Stevens. There's also a UK singer named Eloise. The Punch Brothers, forgot to mention them. They're an amazing group. Chris Thiele on mandolin, just an amazing mandolinist. Please go check him out, and his Bach. Violin sonatas and partitas, those are really cool too.
Do you know what I just realized?
What? We
went this whole time without talking about Debussy. We literally love, like, oh my god, that's so funny.
I thought you were going to mention it.
I don't know why I didn't. I didn't write down many notes for what I was just going to go off of your vibes.
Yeah.
No, we love Debussy. Mutual love. I've been playing Arabesque No. 1 for years and years and years on piano, and anytime I see a new piano, that's like the first thing I play because it's one of the only things that I can remember how to play from memory that's like, sounds like a flex. Anyway.
WC's great.
That's so funny. I don't know why that popped in my head right now. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Honestly, low-key surprised, but very much appreciate it. Big thank you to Jenny for joining me. This is the first time I've ever had a guest on this podcast, and I knew that Jenny would be a great guest, but I didn't know if I was going to be a good host, so I'm glad it all went okay. Round of applause to Jennifer Armour. Love you, Jenny.
Round of applause to Shar.
Woo! Go me. Also, I realized I haven't promoted my music on this podcast yet, so if you want, you can go to my link tree, which will be linked in the description of this video, just like everything else. And I'll have links to my 2 singles that are out right now. If You Were the Sun and Daisies and Dandelions, please give them a listen. Thanks so much for joining. I'm not 100% sure what next week's topic is going to be, so if you're interested in being a bigger part of this podcast, feel free to send me a DM at LadyLazPod on Instagram and share any sort of interest you might have that might be good for a topic. And if you have any music recommendations, or you listen to anybody that we recommended and are interested in them, also let me know, because that would be great. We're going to make a podcast playlist with all of the music from this episode, so don't worry your pretty little head. It's all going to be in the description. And sending you lots of love, and I will talk to you again next Tuesday. Bye!